Hi everyone, my name is Natalie. Today I'm gonna do my summer TBR, which I think I have done in the last 2 years, if I'm not mistaken. But I like to have this as a reference point, particularly going into the vacation season, which I will be doing in the next week. Next week is my last working week. And then I'll be off for a month. I wanted to show you some books that I'm looking at reading during the summer months. I might not get to all of these. I might get to some of them later in the year, but these are things that I'm at the moment really eager to read for various reasons, as I'll talk about when I get through them. And I think, as I said, it's nice to have this as a reference point to come back to be reminded of what is high on my priority list. But I think there's just, as soon as vacation rolls around, I want to read all of the things, so it's always difficult to prioritize from the full TBR, and I think that is a reason that it's nice to have this pile that is already selected to pick from. So I'll start off with the books that I showed you already on Instagram. I made a post for my summer TBR there. So these are my most recently hauled books. I really felt like gifting myself some books that I'd had my eye on for a long time. So two of these are books that I have wanted recently for particular reasons, and the rest of them I think I've had my eye on for a while. So we have To the River by Olivia Lang. I read The Lonely City by her in June and really loved the experience. I really got on with Olivia Lang's writing style. I think her analytical approach to, in The Lonely City, loneliness and urban life and urban landscapes and art. I really liked how she approached those things, how she talked about her own personal experiences and anecdotes with talking about other people's lives, both famous and sort of forgotten people. So I really wanted to read more of her books, and I had initially planned to get Funny Weather, but I changed my mind because someone on Instagram mentioned that this was about Virginia Woolf, and Virginia Woolf is one of those authors I've really been meaning to read more of. So I thought that I would prioritize this one and hopefully get to one of Virginia Woolf's books in the summer as well. I've put it on the TBR as well, so I'll talk about that later. But this is about Virginia Woolf and rivers, and you all know I love a water-themed book, particularly when it comes to nonfiction. So I am pretty sure I will love this based on all of the things surrounding it. But I'm so eager to read more Olivia Lang, and it's high on my priority because I love The Lonely City so much and it's still on my mind. So there's that. Continuing on with the water theme, I have On Lighthouses by Jasmina Barrera, translated by Christina McSweeney, and this is a book all about lighthouses. And I've been recommended this one by Nicola from Robotnik, among other people. I've seen it around for a while and had my eye on it, and the paperback I think came out this year. It's published by Two Lines Press, and this is going to be my first book by them that I pick up and read by them, and I'm very excited to try a new publisher out. New to me, that is, and the topic itself is obviously in my wheelhouse. So, and water-themed books always feel particularly suitable for the summer season. So, a short book that will probably be read in the near future. A book that I picked up that I've had my eye on this author for a long time, and this book too. I saw a post on Instagram where the person had shared quotes from this book, and the quotes was what totally sold me on it, and it is On Photography by Susan Sontag. Susan Sontag is one of those authors I've been wanting to read for a long time, but been definitely feeling slightly intimidated because of her rumor as being a very dense writer, I think, or at least that is the impression I've got. But the quotes from this really made me think I will love this, and also made me think that I will probably want to annotate it in it, which is why I got myself my own copy instead of getting it from the library. And this is on photography and on memory, which is two of my favorite, memory is one of my favorite topics to read about. It says, in this essential and revelatory volume, Susan Sontag confronts important questions surrounding the power dynamics between photographer and the subject, the blurred boundary between lived events and recreated images, and the desire that led us to record our lives. And it's kind of ironic that I sort of got on this book based on Instagram as a platform. But I feel like this will be kind of in the same vein of Olivia Lang's The Lonely City in terms of some of the themes and the writer herself. So we'll see how it goes. But I am very, very keen to read this type of book right now and have a pen in hand. I think particularly when I'm on vacation, I tend to be gravitating towards books that I annotate a lot and think a lot, because I don't always have the room and the energy for that during the rest of the year. I tend to want to do that during the summer. So there's this one. Next is another book I know I will be annotating quite a lot, and that is Vesper Flights by Helen Mcdonald. This is an essay collection about various things related to nature, and I know that some of it is related to the loss in nature, the loss in ecosystems. So it's definitely got its darker and more depressing themes. I have read about a fifth or a fourth of this already. I got a NetGalley way back and I didn't have time to read it before it expired. And then I got it out from the library, but I was just wanting to annotate so much that I knew I needed to have my own physical copy of it. The reason I wanted to pick this one up soonish, aside from wanting to get back to it, and the parts that I've read of this I've really loved, and you might have already been understood that based on the fact that I wanted to annotate this. But another reason I wanted to pick this up right now is that Helen Mcdonald is coming to the annual book fair that happens in Gothenburg every September. She'll do a seminar there, and I definitely want to hear her talk, and I thought that I would get back to this book in preparation for that. So this is definitely gonna be read before the end of September, but probably during the summer. And then the main reason that I ordered all of these books is actually to get a copy of this, Flâneuse by Lauren Elkin. I had seen this one around, but the reason I picked this one up from the library first is that I asked for recommendations based on Olivia Lang's The Lonely City, which has been on my mind, as I said. And two people mentioned this one. And so I picked it up from the library immediately, but it was just ridiculous. I was basically tabbing every page as I was reading it. I read about 30 pages of the library copy and was tabbing it so much that it became completely unmanageable. So I thought, instead of trying to tab all of this and trying to keep all of my thoughts in this physical copy, I would probably need to get my own copy to be able to write in it and to keep all of those thoughts in the book instead of having to take it out when I return the book to the library. So I was really loving what I've read of this so far, but I haven't gotten that far into it. But it's about walking, and particularly it's talking about walking as a way to get to know your physical surroundings, particularly urban landscapes. So that is connected with The Lonely City, definitely. But also there is the gender perspective in this that I also really appreciated. That is specifically about the flâneuse, the feminine version of the noun. So yeah, I'm eager to return to this, and I think it also fits well with traveling, because I will be traveling later this month. I think it will be a perfect book to read during my traveling. Maybe I will have this as my airplane read. We'll see, but I am really eager to get back to this. And then the last of the newly picked up books I have is I Put a Spell on You by Nesmone with Stephen Cleary. Nina Simone is one of my favorite artists, and I've been listening to her music quite a lot during the pandemic, even before then too. And I wanted to read this book about her life for a long time because of that. But I was drawn to this particularly because I've been reading another book on music, which is Joe Strummer, The Punk Rock Politics of Joe Strummer by Gregor Gaul, which I got sent from Manchester University Press. And the core question of this is basically if music can change people's lives, can influence people's decisions, their politics, their values, their expectations on society, and all of those things. And because I've been reading that, I've been really enjoying thinking about music and also listening to a lot of music as I've been reading that. So I wanted to sort of continue on in the same vein and decided to pick this one up. So I'll probably wait to read this until I finish that other book. But I would probably be listening through her entire bibliography as I'm reading this, which is something I've done for the Bill Evans biography that I read a couple of years ago as well and really enjoyed. I think it's a nice way to learn more about your favorite artists, to both become acquainted fully with their discography and to learn about their life simultaneously. Then I have a pile of books that I have chosen from what was already on my shelves. So some of them are sort of directly related to the recently hauled books. Some of them are related to other things. So we have Mrs. Dalloway by Virginia Woolf that I mentioned. I really want to read her, and I feel like I've mentioned a Virginia Woolf book in the last summer reading, Summer TBR as well. I feel fairly certain that I've wanted to read her books for the summer for several years and I haven't yet. But I think from hearing about her books, this seems to be a fairly approachable one. I think I might do it through audio and listen to it in a close proximity, but we'll see. But this, I know, is about a party. I think it follows the hostess who is throwing the party, and I don't really know much more than that, but as I said, I've been really wanting to read more Virginia Woolf, and I will probably combine this one with To the River. Another book that is directly related to something I've been reading recently and currently reading is A Rather Haunted Life by Ruth Franklin, which is a biography about Shirley Jackson's life. I've been reading Shirley Jackson's memoirs, so I read Life Among the Savages last week, or in June anyway, and I'm currently reading Racing Demons, which I will be done with soon. I thought that it would be fun to read the biography about her life in close proximity to reading her memoirs, both as a way to sort of compare and contrast how she tells her stories based on sort of having more of a factual storyline of her life, but also filling in some of the gaps in the memoirs, some of the things that you can sense through reading the memoirs. Like, for example, you can definitely sense some tensions in her marriage. You can definitely sense some challenges with her kids, and tensions and sort of a kind of cold relationship with her parents. Things like that. I think will be interesting to read this book and to fill in some of the gaps, as I said, of my knowledge about her life. So this I will probably start reading after Racing Demons, which will be in the near future. Next we have a book that I've had on my shelves for 2 or 3 years before the pandemic, because I got it on the Gothenburg Book Fair the last time it was before the pandemic, and that is Memories of the Future by Siri Hustvedt. I listened to her talk on the book fair in Gothenburg in 2019, and I've been meaning to read it since then, and because the book fair is coming up, it sort of was on my mind, and I've been meaning to read through her entire bibliography. I've read 2 or 3 of her books. I've read What I Loved by her and The Blindfold, and I've read samples of some of her essays as well. I've read some of her essays as well in the collection Women Looking at Men, Looking at Women. So I've been thinking of doing a Siri Hustvedt project like my J.D. Salinger project, but haven't gotten around to it. So I've been collecting a lot of her books, just not gotten to them. But this one is her most recent novel. I think she has a more recent essay collection, but I think this is the most recent novel. And I know it's autobiographical, and that is pretty much all of the specifics I know about this. Fresh from Minnesota and hungry for all New York has to offer, 23-year-old S.H. embarks on a year that proves both exhilarating and frightening, from bruising encounters with men to the increasingly ominous monologues of the woman next door. And for some reason I think this will be as well a good complement to The Lonely City. I guess it's just sort of, as I said, on my mind, so it's influencing all of my other choices because I enjoyed it so much. But the New York scene and this protagonist's life just makes me think that it will have some parallels and something in a similar vein. But honestly, I could have picked any of Siri Hustvedt's books that I have on my shelves. I just want to read more of her books this summer. Then an author that I was reminded of because I watched Sarah from Hardcover Heart's July Pile of Possibilities video, and I will link it below. She talked about this author's most recent book, and I really want to read that one, but I thought I could get to one of the books I already have of theirs on my shelf. That is Jhumpa Lahiri. This is Unaccustomed Earth, and this is a short story collection. If memory serves, it is short stories about immigration or immigrants. These 8 stories by beloved and best-selling author Jhumpa Lahiri takes us from Cambridge and Seattle to India and Thailand as they explore the secrets of family life. Unaccustomed Earth subtly renders the most intricate workings of the heart and mind. I've been meaning to read this for basically since I read In Other Words by her, which is one of her memoirs, a very brief memoir, but it's about language and all of language and Italy, and I really love that. And this will be my first of her fiction writing, but Translating Myself is the recent publication by her that I really want to pick up. But because I haven't read any of her fiction yet, I thought I could get to this one before then. And if I see Translating Myself in the bookstore, then I will pick it up. And maybe I'll read them close together. We'll see how it goes. But yeah, I've been meaning to read this one for ages. And also I've been really in the mood for short stories. So I might pick this one up after finishing my current short story collection, which is Happy Stories Mostly by Norman Erickson Basadibu, that I'm reading for Invisible Cities. So yeah, might be my next short story collection. Speaking of Invisible Cities, the 2 countries we have this month is Indonesia and Czech Republic. And as I mentioned, I'm already reading Happy Stories Mostly by Norman Erickson Basadibu for Indonesia. And the book I am planning to read for Czech is Czech Republic? Yes, is The Lake by Bianca Belova, and this is translated by Alex Zucker. And this one I remember was something about sort of environmentalism. It was themed around environmental questions. A fishing village at the end of the world, a lake that is drying up and ominously pushing out its banks. The men have vodka, the women troubles, the children eczema to scratch at. Born into this unforgiving environment, Nami, a young boy, embarks on a journey with nothing but a bundle of nerves, a coat that was once his grandfather's, and the vague idea of searching for his mother who disappeared from his life at a young age. To uncover the greatest mystery of his life, he must sail across and walk around the lake and finally dive to its bottom. The lake is a raw account of life in a devastated land and the harsh circumstance under which people fight to survive. Really interested in this one, and it's also published by, let's see what the publisher is, Parthian Books, who I think did several Czech authors and other books in translation that I'm definitely going to be keeping my eye out for their books, because I remember looking at the website and seeing so many things that I was interested in. So yeah, again, looking forward to reading something new from a new publisher to me. The last two books are books by authors I've wanted to read more of their works. So first we have Portrait of an Unknown Lady by Maria Ginza and translated by Thomas Bunstead. I read Optic Nerve by her last year and really liked that. I think there was something about her writing style and also the theme of art that I really enjoyed. And so I've been eagerly anticipating this book coming out in the English, which it did, I think, in April this year, and have been meaning to read it since then. And this one also seems to be about art. It says, a woman checks into a Buenos Aires hotel on the trail of a master forger. And this dazzling story of art and illusion, secrets and schemes, who is to be trusted, and what is real. So I am very excited. I think, as I said, I think it's something about her writing style that I connected with, so hopefully I found a new author to follow. Fingers crossed that I enjoyed this one. The last of all of these summer TBR books is I Am a Cat by Suzuki Natsume, and this has been translated by Aiko Ito and Graham Wilson. I don't know why, but this seems like a summer book to me, and I think it's just the size of it, and also I think the tone of it seems like it's kind of a slow pace, meandering sort of book. It is told from the perspective of a cat, and I think he just makes observations about the people around him in this village that he lives in. Richly allegorical and delightfully readable, I Am a Cat is the chronicle of an unloved, unwanted, wandering kitten who spends all his time observing human nature, from the dramas of businessmen and school teachers to the foibles of priests and potentas. From this unique perspective, author Suzuki Natsume offers a biting commentary shaped by his training in Chinese philosophy on the social upheaval of the Meiji era. I think it's just the size and scope of it sounds like the kind of thing that I would love to get lost in during the summer. And I read Kokoro by him, which is probably his most famous work, a few years ago. It was actually one of the first books I read while I was on BookTube, and then I reread it last year. And the first time I wasn't that keen on it, the second time I enjoyed it a lot more. And so I've been wanting to read more of his books, and this is going to be the next step in my Natsume Suzuki reading. So yeah, I'm really excited about this, and I think, as I said, I'm craving something to get lost in during the summer months. Those are all of the books I wanted to share with you in this summer TBR. That is definitely it's options. It's definitely not set in stone. Let me know if you've read any of these books and whether you think I should prioritize any of them to get to first. Let me know if you didn't like any of them. I'd be interested in that as well. And I'd also love to hear about your reading plans for the summer, whether you are a complete mood reader and haven't made any plans, or if you have a strict schedule to keep up with. I know that there's always various themes and projects and readathons going on. And yeah, let me know. Let's chat in the comments. I hope you're all doing well and you're taking care of yourselves, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.